Hello my lovelies and welcome to my little cottage by the sea, the place where I love to stitch and craft my way to a vintage inspired lifestyle. At the beginning of the year I did a video about some of the things that I wanted to make this year, and my intention had been to keep a track of all the things I made and do one of those sewing roundups of the year, everything that I've made. But I really feel like my sewing practice has really slowed down and I'm making things that I'm really loving. I'm much better at sort of deciding to not sew something, even though I may have had a bit of a whim about sewing it. So I've put together 10 things that I've made this year that are all things that have really filled me with joy. They're all things that I have worn a lot. I had intended actually to keep a track of how many times I wore things, but just busy life just means that I can't really do that. And overall, even though I've sewn so much less, which is as it should be really, I am going to be naming 2025 my most successful year of sewing. So let's have a little look at these things that I've made that have just filled me with joy in 2025. Way back at the beginning of the year in January, I made what I call the Moss Tippet and Hat and Muff. This was a Patreon project. I spent the whole year looking at fairy tales, being inspired by fairy tales, and all the projects were based on fairy tales. I'm now doing a new theme this year moving forward called Atelier, which is really focusing more on pattern cutting and couture techniques and the history of fashion. And the Moss Tippet was one of my favourite projects. I made this faux fur stole. I took my patrons through the pattern cutting process, and then I sewed that or attached it to a coat that was just one I bought off a sale rail in a fast fashion shop years ago. And then I actually used some of the faux fur to create cuffs around the cuffs of the sleeves. And I also made a little muff to go with that set. And I just absolutely love that project. It's quite simple, quite straightforward, little accessories, palette cleansers, but that particular tippet, which you can wear separately, you can make separately, but I've just attached mine to the coat, has probably got to be my most worn thing of the whole entire year. My next favourite makes, not clothes at all, but they are my little creatures. In February of this year, I had my first exhibition with all my little vintage kitties, circus kitties. I also made a crow out of all my antique bits and pieces. The pattern was by Anne Wood. Really thoroughly enjoyed that project, and it sort of helped me realise that I wanted to do this. I also taught myself stump work, and I created little butterflies and crow's wings and all sorts of things that I displayed in a local pub. It really meant the world to me to do this, and I was very happy to gift some of these pieces to my nearest and dearest. But these little vintage kitties and cherub kitties that I've made are sprinkled through my home. There's one just up there that you can possibly just see at the back of frame, and then this lovely harlequin one. I haven't made any more since, but I definitely want to make a few more of these one-off wonderful little characters and have them all keeping me company in my little cottage by the sea. I put together a video a little while ago which was all about sort of two themed looks that I was wearing. One was regal core and the other was vintage utility, both of which are themes that are enduring and still inspiring me. The Bess Dress that I made out of my favourite Liberty print honeymoon fabric from the 1930s, which is just a draft of my own bodice block and a 1930s vamp sleeve, both things that I've done over on Patreon, with just a gathered skirt, was really one of my favourite makes. I absolutely love this dress. I feel so wonderful every time I put it on, and it was just such a joy, and it really sparked this need for big voluminous dresses made out of Liberty print, but a little bit more on that later. I wore this dress when I went to see the Marie Antoinette exhibition at the V&A recently. You can't get more regal core than Marie Antoinette. That exhibition has further sparked a whole new line of inquiry in my creative adventures, which I'm looking forward to sharing here and on Patreon in the new year. Now, I'm really more of a dress person, it has to be said, and another dress that I made, and I made a few versions of this, is this 1950s style dress. And the first one I made was in this black 1950s Dior dead stock fabric that I was very fortunate to find. And it made me think of dirndls and that sort of pinafore dress style. I've worn and worn and worn this dress, although it does need specialist cleaning when I clean it. So that is slightly problematic. I'd like to make another one of these in a more wearable, durable fabric, although having said that, I wear that dress all the time. I should say that I'm not entirely sure if I made that dress in this year or whether it was sort of at the end of last year, but I started wearing it in this year. Not entirely sure, but you know, it still counts as one of my 10 favourite makes. We're just cheating a bit, but you know, what can you do? I also made the dress that I'm wearing under a little vest that I knitted because the neckline is square, so a little bit cold in my cottage. This keeps my chest nice and toasty. I made this one, this was my birthday dress. I think I bought the fabric in the Christmas sale and then I saved it to make something special. So I made this version with these really big sleeves. The sleeves were a pattern cutting project over on Patreon. I did all little tucks on it. It's very, very cool and beautiful. I think it's probably one of the best things I've ever made. Definitely one of my favourite things that I've ever made. What I especially loved about this one was I decided to start making my own little labels out of these leftover English paper pieced hexagons, and then I embroidered, machine embroidered cobwebs on. So I'm endeavouring to put these as my labels into all of my handmade clothes moving forward. Haven't quite got there yet, but it's definitely one of the most enjoyable little bits of a project, that sort of last finishing little details. I did actually buy some other fabric at my birthday, another Liberty, to make another version of this dress, but that I cut out, I started making, and then I've sort of left it as is. The only difference is I've got, again, the sort of the same sleeves as the Bess Dress, these 1930s fabulosity sleeves that are drafted based off of a 1930s concept. I released a pattern in 2025 and it was my Loveheart cushions. Absolutely love these cushions. I'd seen them as a very, very expensive brand. They were literally hundreds of pounds each. And I decided to make some for myself, and I loved making them. And my friends all really admired them. So I put them out as a pattern. So they're there on my website should you like to grab yourself a pattern. They're a really enjoyable make. One of the things that I'm actually going to be making using my Loveheart cushions is to do some patchwork versions. I think that all my cushions in my front room, in my salon, are all looking a little bit tired, so I definitely am going to be making a few more of these over the course of the year. But they really were one of my favourite things, and I'm really, really proud of them, and Ghost really loves them too. In the summer I made a lovely outfit, and it was a linen version with a little bit of a ruffle of my Greta blouse. So I have this zine that you can download, and it is a sort of sustainable sewing pattern. And what I mean by that is it's just a cutting guide. It's all just rectangles. You do some very basic measurements, and I do take you through that as painlessly as possible in the PDF. And you can basically make a really beautiful blouse and a really lovely dress. Whenever I'm doing my patterns, I really do try and think about proportions. I feel as a pattern cutter, proportions are as important as fit. So my patterns come with very specific proportions that are usually very flattering on people. And I love this idea of just cutting out a couple of rectangles and making a dress, rather than having to sort of cut out a whole paper pattern. And the Greta is a really lovely, very, very traditional style garment based off a folk costume, and it's really one of my favourite things to wear. I've got several dresses and a few tops now, with the intention of making a few more. So I made that Greta blouse out of a little bit of leftover linen that I had from a project. And then I made one of my Calypso skirts, which is also one of those sort of pattern guides, sewing guides, a sustainable zero waste pattern as far as is possible. And it's a tiered skirt. It's based off of a vintage one that I found in a charity shop made from Liberty, and the proportions of that skirt were really beautiful. So I basically copied that skirt exactly, the proportions, and created this cutting guide. And I've made this skirt a couple of times for summer, and I love the one that I made for this outfit to go with the Greta. It's out of the Liberty Wiltshire Berries. Really, really comfortable because it's got that elasticated waistband, and it got me thinking that actually I need to winterize the Calypso, have a little bit of an experiment in more wintry, different types of fabrics to see what kind of looks I can come up with. So I'm going to be focusing a bit on Calypso in the first part of this year, so I hope you're going to enjoy that process as I go through it. One of my other absolute favourite projects is the dress that I call the Hansel Dress. In November, the fairy tale inspiring my Patreon adventures was Hansel and Gretel, and I made this milkmaid style dress. Now, I've been looking for a milkmaid dress for a really long time, and as a pattern cutter, I kind of know when I see a pattern what that's going to look like on my body. It's 30 years of doing that as a job, kind of gives you an inkling. Now, there are some lovely versions out there, but I didn't want that style that was going to make my boobs look huge-mongous. I'm all for being boobalicious. Now, I'm really happy with my physique and I feel quite confident. Some things you put on though kind of skew the eye, they mess up the proportion, and sometimes when you put on something that really accentuates, like there's a little panel underneath and you have this sort of cuppage there, can look great, but on me it makes me feel wrong. Even if it looks good, if it doesn't look good, I'm more interested in how I feel in the clothes that I'm wearing and the story that I feel I'm telling, who I am in terms of how I'm showing up in the world. And I really felt like I was looking a little bit like Carry On Milkmaid. If you are familiar with the Carry On films, you'll know exactly what I mean. But I made this Hansel bodice adaptation that you could then use with all sorts of different sleeves or skirts. That's the whole point of pattern cutting, that when you've got your bespoke blocks, you're able to just sort of do these modular things. You just amend the bodice a bit, put different sleeves on if you love those particular sleeves. I made it out of this really lovely chalet that I bought on sale from Dalston Mill. It was sort of a bit of a toile, wearable toile, and eventually I want to make that in a special Liberty print, maybe the Betsy in a pink colourway. That would be really lovely. That dress is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It does everything I wanted it to do. It creates that milkmaid sort of traditional folk style dress, that romantic regal core, sort of fairy tale princess. I mean, I'm heading into my Baba Yaga crone era, but nevertheless, we're all princesses and queens, are we not, if we decide to be? So that was an absolute doozer of a project. It did everything I wanted it to do, and I really felt like the finished dress was made as well as I could possibly make it. And I definitely want to make another in the Liberty print, as I say, but also maybe just in a black with a longer sleeve to wear in the winter months. But these particular dresses that I've made this year have all been incredible. The majority of them have been self-drafted, and then the style dress has been adapted from that 1950s, early 60s pattern, but a real favourite of mine. My last make, and probably my most enjoyable make, that I made totally off camera and I didn't even really photograph, so there's just this sort of small little image that I've taken to show you, was my Halloween outfit. And I had originally wanted to do a sort of Marie Antoinette thing, but I'm holding that project. As I said, the Bess Dress and going to the V&A exhibition has kind of opened up a whole little adventure that I'm hoping to have. So I'm going to be doing something more Marie Antoinette-y next year. But the dress that I made was inspired by sort of vintage costume, and it was my devil's outfit for a Halloween party. I made a version of a vampire's wife dress, a full floor sweeping one out of a red satin that was left over from a commission from years and years ago. And then to go with that, I made one of my Selena bonnets, which is inspired and named for Catwoman. And bizarrely enough, it's, I think, one of my top selling patterns, which is really lovely because I do really love that pattern. And I just made some devil horns for it. And then to go with that, I bought some quite soft red tulle net. It's sort of in between a net and a tulle, and just gathered loads of it onto a ribbon. So I had the whole outfit. I would have loved actually to have made a little heart-shaped bag or something along those lines to go with it, but I literally made the whole outfit in a day, maybe a day and a half. It was a total, I need to make an outfit, this is what I want to make. And often when you're making things to a really tight deadline, it's better to make a tried and true thing. And the vampire's wife dress is just, you know, it's Bob's your uncle, it's done, it's perfection. And I just loved wearing that outfit. I loved walking from my house to the party. Cars stopped and let me cross the road, and we were not even at traffic lights, obviously quite worried about their soul. So as I said, for me, it's more important about how I feel in things, and that I'm exploring my own creativity. I do see things on other people and think, oh, that's great, but I think I'm not necessarily wanting to emulate other people as such. I just kind of put things together and take these ideas from film, from the catwalk, from vintage magazines, wherever it might be from. And I really think that rather than just trying to make lots of stuff this year, slowing my pace right down and making some things not always well thought out, sometimes like my devil costume and impulse, I just really enjoyed making all these projects. When I'm putting these clothes on, I'm remembering making, I'm remembering the lovely process, I'm thinking about what I was watching and thinking about at the time, and they really do make me feel incredible when I put them on. They're instant lifters of spirit, shall we say. And I'm hoping that as I move forward into 2026, I'm gonna retain that sense of joy in the things that I'm going to be making. I am really looking forward to sharing those adventures with you. I have got things I want to make in 2026 video, and there are some interesting ideas in that, I hope. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look at some of my favourite makes of this year. I definitely want to be having fun dressing up with my handmade and thrifted wardrobe. I'm going to be sharing that in my wardrobe diaries, which is available for my Couturier tier 3 patrons over there. And there's going to be a slightly different mix of videos happening, but still lots of sewing, still lots of vintage inspired inspiration, still the things that you have come to know and expect from me, but just a slightly different mix of where I'm putting things. So I'm really, really looking forward to sharing that with you. And I am so grateful for all your support over this and all the years that I've been here on YouTube. Your many kindnesses are something that really mean the world to me, and I'm always grateful that you take the time to spend the time with me and Ghost in my little cottage by the sea.